class, this week we're going to do a science experiment about the ocean. Now remember parents, even though this is a science experiment, we're still learning about basic life skills. We're going to remember how to use our measuring spoons. We're also using measuring cups for our hot water. And we also have our materials. So we have grapes, we have 4 cups, we have our salt, and we have a spoon for stirring. All right? We also have some paper towels handy in case we make a mess. All right, so for the month of June, we've been learning about the ocean. The ocean cleanup makes inventions to clean up oceans. Water in the oceans is salt water. Salt water is more dense than fresh water. Salt water can make things float. So here's our question. How much salt will make a grape float in a cup of water? So I'm going to take some of my warm water and I'm going to pour it into my first cup. I'm going to place my first grape in the cup and I'm going to see what happens. All right, my grape sunk to the bottom of the cup. It is not floating. So now you got to think about it. Will it take 2 tablespoons of salt, 4 tablespoons of salt, or 6 tablespoons of salt to make it float? Because it says tablespoons, I got to go and find my tablespoon. And this is how much salt I'll be mixing in. Now, I think their cups are a little bit taller than mine, so it might not take as much salt. So I'm going to add my warm water again. And I'm going to add my salt. And again, this is something that the students can do as they practice using their life skills. Again, the bigger the cup, the more salt it's going to take to float. And I'm going to drop my grape in. All right, that's the first one. The next one, I'm going to use 4 tablespoons of salt mixed in with my hot water. One, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to stir. If you notice, the color of the water is changing when I put salt in there. It's getting murky. I'm going to put my next grape in. Oh, see, there is a difference. If you come around, you can notice. At the bottom, it's floating. And the last recipe called for 6 tablespoons of salt. So I bet you we can guess what's going to happen in this last one. So, again, I'm practicing my measuring. You can have your student do this part, and they can measure it. That's 2, 3, oops, I put too much water. 4, 5, and 6. Good thing I have my napkins. 6. And then that's another thing that you can talk about is how water gets displaced a little bit when you add something else to the mix. And I'm stirring in my salt. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my last grape in and see what happens. Oh, my salt isn't all the way dissolved in the bottom. But there we go. So my cup's a little small, but when your salt's dissolved, your grapes float. So pretty cool, huh, class? No salt, it sinks. 2 tablespoons of salt, it sinks. 4 tablespoons of salt, it floats. 6 tablespoons of salt, it floats. you can repeat this science project at home. All right? Make sure you measure using your measuring spoons, and make sure you use your measuring cups. It's good practice for a real-world life skill. Have fun, class.